properties disrupt the real estate industry as registered facilities rise above 5,000. On the global scene, US President Donald Trump announces sweeping tariffs targeting over 70 countries. Sit tight, it's time for business. Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited has assumed control of power distribution from Umeme Limited. This follows the conclusion of the utility company's 20-year concession.
Umeme Company Limited has officially handed over its distribution assets to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, marking the end of the utility company's 20-year concession.
Umeme Board and Executive, Mr. Patrick Bitatura and your team, that we are still together. We have to conclude naturally because this is not
in terms of efficiency, financial sustainability, digital operation environment of our systems.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development plans to revise procurement requirements to allow the new electricity distributor to make swift financial decisions, ensuring the network runs efficiently. The end of Umeme concession ushers in a new chapter where government takes over the electricity distribution. But the true test lies on how effectively and smoothly this transition will be managed. Dennis Igor for UBC Business.
Relatedly, Umeme Board Chairperson Patrick Bitature emphasized the importance of government support for the new power distributor to meet the rapidly growing power demand and address challenges posed by an aging distribution network. In an interview with BRU, Bitature also raised concern about the government's buyout offer.
Reflecting on Umeme's 20-year legacy, Patrick Bitature expressed pride in the utility company's achievements, which have elevated the brand beyond borders.
But we can look at other countries. Several countries in Africa have invited us. World Bank has invited us. They've told us, please come, don't give up what you've done because you've built such a good brand, a good record. So we are not worried about the future. There are so many opportunities. It depends on appetite of the shareholders.
As the assets are handed over to EDCell, Bitature urged the government to adopt significant operational changes to effectively manage the inherited infrastructure and serve the millions of customers on the grid.
Most of our staff, but holding it together at the governance level is not an easy task. So they have to be very strong. We're here to support them, so it's a big deal. For us as Umeme, we knew 20 years was coming and we are psychologically prepared to hand over this network. It's not like we're holding on. We tried to negotiate with the government a few years ago, but clearly they thought that we're giving a lot of profit to the shareholders. If that profit element is removed and it's only government run, because a public utility should not be making profit in their view. So we understood that. So we are psychologically prepared. We told our shareholders we're going to hand over. We're no longer negotiating to keep the concession or to extend it.
Regarding the buyout amount, which has already been deposited onto Umeme's account, Bitature expressed dissatisfaction with the payment.
They were playing safe. Everyone is doing their job to the best they can. So they've played safe and they've only paid $118 million. We expected something around 200 million plus. So there's a gap, which we're going to sit down and negotiate in the next 30 days. Failure to agree, we take our documentation to an arbitration. Unfortunately, it's in London. I was hoping it would be in Uganda, but it's in London. So we are going to, they choose one of the judges, we choose one, and then the two of them choose the third. And that will be full and final binding documentation. Their decision will bind us all.
He also highlighted the unresolved issue of over 500 billion shillings owed to the Electricity Transmission Company Limited.
Electricity and pay them 30 days after. So we just have to do a reconciliation exercise. All the power we've got, you know, when we began selling power, it was a very small amount. But now we're doing 200 billion shillings per month. So when you hear 513 billion, that's 2 months reconciliation. That's all that you bring forward. So don't let that be a cause for alarm. Everything.
Abdul Nasil Lubwama, UBC.
The Ugandan government signed a landmark oil refinery agreement with Alpha MBM Investments from the United Arab Emirates. The deal grants Alpha MBM a 60% stake in the refinery project, while the Ugandan National Oil Company retains a 40% share. Dennis Sigowa reports.
The signing of the 60,000 barrel per day crude oil refinery deal was witnessed by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at State House Entebbe. It marks a major milestone in Uganda's journey toward energy independence and industrialization.
So you people work with them because they are bringing investment. They are not bringing loans. They are coming to invest. Why do you have any problem when you spend days and 3.5 years? The man is very polite. Oh, thank you very much. After 3 years, really we have worked hard. Worked hard. This is Arab politeness.
President Museveni, who praised the United Arab Emirates investors for their enterprising spirit, warned government officials against frustrating investors with bureaucratic delays.
It is really not good for the servants of Uganda to not know what to do. Because what these people are proposing is very clear. I don't know why it would even take 2 days to determine. Fortunately, the National Resistance Movement is here. And if you don't move, the NRM will move.
The refinery project will include a state-of-the-art refinery complex in Kabale, Hoima, designed to process 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day, a modern storage terminal in Namwabula, Mpigi district. The other components are a 212 kilometers multi-product pipeline linking the refinery to the storage terminal.
As long as I'm here, I considered myself Ugandan always, and I will stay always Ugandan. I'm doing it for the nation, I'm doing it for the people, I'm doing it to support the community over here. I'm doing it. My happiness is people smile, my happiness is to see the people live better life. That's what I'm looking for, me and my team. Again, I would first of all appreciate and thanks Your Excellency.
Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, described the new development as an initiative that will not only enhance Uganda's energy security, but also catalyze economic transformation.
Since we are not going to export the 60,000 barrels of crude oil, that means there will be a balance of payments impact of $591 million per annum. Of course, the general fiscal impact is expected to be $804 million per annum. That is the project that the President has been pursuing, and I would like to thank you sincerely for your guidance, sir.
The refinery project will fully comply with international environmental, health and safety standards, integrating modern technologies to minimize environmental impact.
Uganda is going to use its money from you, the taxpayers, to facilitate this facility, the refinery and the related facilities that have raised by 40%.
Besides the oil deal, Uganda and the UAE investors also signed 5 other agreements in various sectors, including the aviation sector, tree planting, a digital land management system, logistics cargo hubs and storage chain facilities, a comprehensive digital payment system for government transactions, streamlining tax collections and financial services, and others.
In more news, Uganda is increasingly registering more short-term rental properties listed on various online platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com. This trend is not only disrupting the hospitality industry, but also the real estate industry, which is now pushing a section of property developers to focus on this niche market.
As the world's economy stabilizes from the COVID-19 pandemic effects, new market trends like short-term rentals are being adopted more and more in Uganda.
Like a fresh listing, they tag you new to booking.com. But if you scroll, say like now, today, you will see 100 new properties. But even on the platforms, if you look at TikTok, everyone is advertising Airbnb. The youth, especially ladies, they are taking a trend.
Online travel agencies like Airbnb and Booking.com alone have over 5,000 Ugandan listings by managers who have set up their properties exclusively for this niche market.
The Airbnb and furnished housing is one of the new trends in real estate, especially in renting. Why? Because there are people who don't want to stay in a hotel. They don't want to be, where others have been, and some of the disadvantages that come with hotel, especially if you're moving with family. So the Airbnb gives you that feel of a home, and yet you can get in some of them services of a hotel, not all of them.
The increasing demands for fully furnished short-term rentals has called for a diverse range of architectural designs and interior decorations to attract both foreign and domestic customers to book for days, weeks, and even months.
The modern type of building is mostly in high demand. The hosts themselves are making studies. They know what the guests want. You'll see most old structures being dropped. They are being dropped, so people are adapting to the new ones. So if an apartment is maybe 3 months incomplete, the people will be already booking because they know the guests want to stay in fresh places.
This is Dr. Ibrahim Semaganda, the managing director of BuildNet, at the showcase of their forthcoming Munyonyo Waterfront Hotel. His company is co-investing with several private Ugandans in an 8-floor hotel apartment that will primarily operate on a short-term rental business model due to its profitability compared to the ordinary rental apartments.
The high cost of construction materials affects the real estate business in the sense that it also impacts on the cost of acquisition, the cost of construction of the real estate, and therefore the cost of acquisition by a potential customer. It goes a little bit higher, which may in turn be passed on to the consumer, who is the tenant or the guests, depending on whether long-term or short-term.
When unfurnished, a long-term rental apartment at 1.5 million shillings a month could easily fetch 4 million shillings a month when furnished on Airbnb.
So it's giving you a higher return on investment because ideally your daily rate, if you also convert the other traditional one to daily rate, this one is much higher. So therefore it comes with a higher return on investment.
Both private stakeholders and the government are actively working towards the enactment of the Real Estate Bill 2024 to allow for some of the new modalities in the sector.
It's taken long for government to understand real estate.
Okay.
And that's where the trick has been. It's taken them long, and because they don't understand us so well, they are throwing taxes everywhere. Like if you look at the taxation in real estate, you might even get discouraged to come in. So it's not like they are intentionally dodging. For instance, the Airbnb, at first, they didn't know how to go about it. It's not a hotel, it's not a rental. But I think eventually, as we come up with the law, the real estate bill is coming up, and all that is being covered in the real estate bill.
To foster a more equitable and beneficial real estate sector, the new market segment is getting headway for its profitability. Wadulo Arnold Mark for UBC Business Roundup.
The Electricity Regulatory Authority announced a 14% tariff reduction with optimism of attracting the public towards different categories of electricity usage. The reduction came at a time of transferring the power distribution mandate from Umeme to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited.
The announced end-user tariff, as updated quarterly by the Electricity Regulatory Authority, indicate a tariff reduction of 14%. The regulator explains factors gravitating tariffs movement, which among others include appreciation of the Uganda shillings against the dollar and attainment of the priorities in the National Development Plan, especially industrialization.
One, demand. We expect the demand to grow at an annual rate of 10.4% in 2025. The Uganda shilling has appreciated against the United States dollar of shillings 3,689.10 cents used in determining the retail tariff for the first quarter of this year to now shillings 3,679.73 cents as of February 2028, as published by the Bank of Uganda.
In the reviewed tariffs, Lifeline tariff stands at 250 shillings, domestic tariff at 756.2 shillings per unit, commercial tariff stands at 546.4 shillings per unit, among other adjustments.
The Electricity Regulatory Authority remains committed to ensuring continuity of electricity supply and fostering a sustainable and self-sufficient electricity subsector that supports Uganda's vision for total socio-economic transformation.
The review has come at a time when UEDCL has just assumed power distribution in parameters initially operated by a private company, which is Umeme Limited. The full ownership of government gives the public hope of further tariff reduction.
And what you have to do now, working with us of course, is to make sure that we put a strong communication network.
The UEDCL tariff performance targets to have a downfall curve movement as electricity demand is expected to increase, proportionate to the expected government investment in electricity extension.
The National Social Security Fund, in collaboration with Absa Bank, are focused on empowering thousands of students from across the country with essential financial literacy skills. At the launch of the 15th edition of the NSSF Career Expo, Uganda Christian University students were tasked to be financially disciplined.
The NSSF Career Expo, launched in 2010, has attracted over 300,000 students, with many thriving in successful careers as employees or entrepreneurs. To date, 50,000 students are active NSSF contributors, contributing over Uganda shillings 35 billion.
The question of career today in Uganda is so important, and actually it is a relevant talk given the tremendous changes in the workplace and in the marketplace. Our students will certainly benefit in a number of ways. Apart from building the UCU brand with these institutions, they are able to also have internship opportunities like these have been provided. They are also able to learn from the potential employers what are the relevant soft skills.
The Expo emphasizes early saving, highlights time management and integrity to help individuals stand out to employers or in businesses. Career guidance is critical for making informed decisions to align students with their competence.
Most of it is people ending up not doing what they want to do, in which case they can't give it all their best. People getting jobs they don't like because they got into an area they don't like. And so that creates frustration. The good news is, with the time you find that correct, people drop off what they wanted, drop off what they were placed in. You want to build an asset. You want to build your brand. You want to be known for something. And mid-time management is something within our hands, because every day it gives you an opportunity to keep time. Every day you have an opportunity to keep your word. And if you begin to do that, and you earn and build what you call trust, and people trust you, that's an asset. That's a big asset. Even when you say no, people will know, he has said no, it's okay.
Absa's interim MD David Wandera stresses borrowing wisely and investing in assets.
People are willing to give you time to pay your debt. Even the banks are willing to do that when you come in and negotiate. We do loan restructuring, so it's important. So start saving for flexibility. Why? Because you need to be able to handle emergencies without panicking. That is the real financial power.
The 15th edition Expo is themed on financial literacy, smart money moves. It will be held at 10 universities nationwide like Makerere University, Kyambogo University, Gulu University, among others, to equip students with financial tools.
At the end of the day, we all have a certain amount of money. Of course, I will not have, I may not be able to save as somebody who has a job. I may not be able to save as somebody who has been in the workforce for maybe 5-10 years. But as a student, I might be able to save my small pocket money.
NSSF has inspired me today and looked onto that. From the little you start, you can go up to big.
Crispus Arinitwe for UBC Business Roundup.
On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a barrage of tariffs against U.S. adversaries and allies. Trump says the move will boost manufacturing and punish other countries for what he says are unfair trade practices. We have more from DW.
It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind, we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries who didn't want to do that.
The US will impose an across-the-board 25% tariff on all foreign-made cars, a 20% tax on imports from the European Union, 34% on goods from China, 26% on India and 24% on Japan.
In our local language, you have a saying that who is closer to a saucepan will definitely be dirtier than the one who is far, because you will have to touch the saucepan quite often. Whereas the mine belongs to the country, of course the community around the mine will benefit more than the community that is far from the mine at that level. So the coming in of the mine is good news to the municipality in terms of employment to our people, but also to the taxes I talked about earlier will also improve, and as a result we shall improve on service delivery to the community of Kasese. We should also remember that the mine itself is a tourist attraction. Even when it is defunct, people have kept on coming to Kilembe, and I think when it becomes operational we shall even receive more and more people coming to look at it.
Stakeholders in Uganda's electricity subsector celebrated the historic transition from Umeme Limited Company to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited. At the stroke of midnight on the 1st of April 2025, the shift of the mandate, referred to as the Big Switch, took place at the Lugogo substation. We have more in our Sounds of Business.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The invoice goes to
The big switch and the big picture. And the big switch and the big picture. Johnson, can you come for Johnson, take the big picture. Thanks a lot, Honorable Minister.
As we wrap up this episode, we have some words of wisdom to the prospecting short-term rental investors. Remember that success in the short-term rental business hinges on a few key factors: choosing the right location, setting competitive prices, maintaining impeccable cleanliness, and delivering exceptional customer experience. Thank you for staying with us to the very end of the show. I'm Maureen Babidia. Good night.
you.